Welcome everyone. This is, May 1st, May Day, 2013. Geez, and not May Day in the sense of we're in trouble and a distress signal, but May Day insofar as dancing around the maypole with flowers and everybody all dressed up. So we have a target that we're viewing tonight that I think is going to be very interesting. I just talked to Lynn about it. I didn't look your sessions over very closely. You're going to see why. It's quite the adventure, and whatever you were drawn to, I think will be unique to you, and you're going to figure out whether or not you had any success. More so than me looking at it going, yeah, you got that building. You're going to see here in just a second. So let me switch over to my desktop. Those strobe lights as always. And just so you know, you're being recorded. I will remind you of that and get to look at all my junk on my desktop. I'm going to pull up the screens here that let me see participants and the chat area. Okay, now here is your feedback. And I asked Lynn how to pronounce this because even he had a little bit of trouble with it. If anybody can speak Polish, please pronounce this properly, because he said the W is a V and the C is probably an F. So Waliska salt mine, if that rings a bell with anybody. And it's actually a salt mine that they have not mined for 10 years, but there's a cathedral underneath, and it's actually astounding and magnificent. There's a lot of text here, and I'm sorry for those who are going to listen to the recording. It's only an effort so that they can get the same information that you do, and the link is here as well, so you can check it out on your own. I've restructured the pictures and got the text all in one place, but this is what it looks like from the outside now. And the story that goes with it is deep underground in Poland lies something remarkable but little known outside Eastern Europe. For centuries, miners have extracted salt there, but left behind things quite startling and unique. Take a look at the most unusual salt mine in the world. From the outside, the Liska salt mine doesn't look extraordinary. It looks extremely well kept for a place that hasn't mined any salt for over 10 years, but apart from that, it looks ordinary. However, over 200 meters below ground, it holds an astonishing secret. This is the salt mine that became an art gallery, cathedral, and underground lake. Situated in the Krakow area, Waliska is a small town of close to 20,000 inhabitants, and it was founded in the 12th century by a local duke to mine the rich deposits of salt that lie beneath. Until 1996, it did just that. The generations of miners did more than just extract. They left behind them a breathtaking record of their time underground in the shape of statues of mythic, historical, and religious figures. They even created their own chapels in which to pray. Perhaps their most astonishing legacy is the huge underground cathedral that they left behind for posterity. Here's Lynn. Hey, it may feel like you're in the middle of a Jules Verne adventure as you descend to the depths of the world. After a 150-meter climb down wooden stairs to the visitor to the salt mine will see some amazing sights. About the most astounding in terms of its sheer size and audacity is the chapel of St. Kinga. The Polish people have for many centuries been devout Catholics, and this was more than just a long-term hobby to relieve the boredom of being underground. This was an act of worship. Amazingly, even the chandeliers in the cathedral are made of salt. It was not simply hewn from the ground and then thrown together. However, the process is rather more painstaking for the lighting. After extraction, the rock salt was first of all dissolved. It was then reconstituted with the impurities taken out so that it achieved a glass-like finish. The chandeliers are what many visitors think the rest of the cavernous mine will be like, as they have a picture in their minds of salt as they would sprinkle on their meals. However, the rock soil occurs naturally in different shades of gray, something you would expect granite to look like. Still, that doesn't stop well over 1 million visitors, mainly from Poland and its Eastern European neighbors, from visiting the mine to see, amongst other things, how salt was mined in the past. For safety reasons, less than 1% of the mine is open to visitors, but even that is still almost 4 kilometers in length, more than enough to weary the average tourist after an hour or two. The mine was closed for two reasons. The low price of salt on the world market made it too expensive to extract here. Also, the mine was slowly flooding, another reason why visitors are restricted to certain areas only. The religious carvings are, in reality, what draw many to this mine as much for their amazing verisimilitude as for their Christian aesthetic. The above shows Jesus, it was below here, I moved it. Above shows Jesus appearing to the apostles after the crucifixion. He shows the doubter, St. Thomas, the wounds on his wrists. Another remarkable carving, this time a take on the Last Supper. The work and patience that must have gone into the creation of these sculptures is extraordinary. One wonders what the miners would have thought of their work going on general display. They came to be quite used to it, in fact, even during the mine's busiest period in the 19th century. The cream of Europe's thinkers visited this site, and you can still see many of their names in the old visitors' books on display. These reliefs are perhaps among some of the most iconographic works of Christian folk art in the world and really do deserve to be shown. It comes as little surprise to learn that the mine was placed in the original list of UNESCO World Heritage Sites back in 1978. Not all of the work is relief-based. There are many life-size statues that must have taken a considerable amount of time, months, even years, to create. Within the confines of the mine, there are also much to be learned about the miners from the machinery and tools that they used, many of which are on display and are centuries old. The catastrophic flood in 1992 dealt the last blow to commercial salt mining in the area, and now the mine functions purely as a tourist attraction. Brine is, however, still extracted from the mine and then evaporated to produce some salt, but hardly on the ancient scale. If this was not done, then the mines would soon become flooded once again. Not all of the statues have religious or symbolic imagery attached to them. The miners had a sense of humor, after all. Here can be seen their own take on the legend of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Below. The intricately carved dwarves must have seemed to some miners a kind of ironic depiction of their own work. The miners even threw in a dragon for good measure, and certainly they may have whistled while they did it, but the conditions in the salt mine were far from comfortable and the hours were long. The fact that it was subterranean could hardly have added to the excitement of going to work each morning. To cap it all, there is even an underground lake lit by subdued electricity and candles. This is perhaps where the old legend of lakes to the underworld and the Catholic imagery of saints work together to best leave a lasting impression of the mine. However, how different a few minutes' reflection here must have been to the noise and sweat of everyday working life in the mine. So you saw the building outside, and then you go down the stairs. And this is essentially the entryway. And there's the lake. And the display with the seven dwarfs. There's actually another picture. And the Last Supper. And a different shot of the stairway. And more carvings. Here, I actually have pulled up on Google. If you just Google it, you can see. All I did was, for the sake of that Word document, get it all into one spot. There's a dining hall, and look at the polished floors. Long hallway. And a chapel. So that is essentially, there's the dragon. And one of the chandeliers, I think, from the bottom. And that is it. So we have lots of sessions to look at. Hi, Lynn. This is where you say hi.
Hi. I was saying hi, but it was muted.
Glad you could join us, as always.
Same here. Thank you.
All right. Does anybody have to leave in a hurry? I will do the best I can. We have 8 sessions, I think, to look at. Okay. I asked Ron. Ron has been here, I think, just once. If I could show his session first. He's a basic viewer who just came down and worked with me last weekend. He's had some, and Ron, you can unmute if you want to and make comments and ask questions. That's the way we roll here, very informal. But he has had, I think, 3 seminars that he just went and listened to DVDs, and he remote viewed for the first time, or second, but hadn't really had the dots connected. So working with me for the last weekend, he sent in, we did 3 sessions and got him used to taking coordinates and doing the IAB sequence. So it was all just a different way of writing things down for him, as well as there were some new things too, but he hadn't, other than we went over terms and analogies online last week and got him started looking at that. But for those of you who don't know what the set-aside mantra is, the administration section up here on the right on our sessions, as we learned from Lynn, we use our set-asides, which are, what we call the mantra. If you have things that your subconscious mind always has tucked in the back of its head that it'll be listening for, like the phone's going to ring and distract you, the dog's going to need to go out, you have other sessions that might creep into your head and you think, well, is this the same one? You're afraid of having a rotten session. Those are called POCDs, or previews of coming distractions. We write them down as such, and then we list each one. And I told Ron he didn't have to write this down. But the mantra is you set it aside, and then at the end of your session, you pick up your set-asides, because these are your real-world things that you don't want your conscious mind to ignore for forever. But he chose the phone ringing. So the set-aside mantra is, and you don't have to write it, and it's always in the present tense, because that's how the subconscious thinks. The phone may ring and distract me, but that's okay. I could use the practice for taking breaks. For now, I'm not worrying about the phone ringing. For now, I'm setting aside the phone ringing. So it's not I'm going to, because that's future tense. So for now, I'm not worrying about the phone ringing. For now, I'm setting aside the phone ringing. And you do that for each one of the distractors that you've listed. And then I'm just going to skip over the comments that for him, he was learning the IAB sequence, and he was also learning Gestalt. And so I had sent his session back to him with comments. For instance, hillside, he listed as a Gestalt, but that's a noun. So that would be a stray cat and written off to the side. And I said, perhaps did you mean land? Because it's his session, he's the viewer, he's in charge. But since hillside is a noun, and you don't want to declare that as a Gestalt, I was making suggestions as did you mean possibly. Also feeling, the feeling component of the IAB sequence was new for him. Go, Lynn, I see you.
Would you cover the difference between a noun and a Gestalt?
I should have you do that. A noun is the conscious mind's namer and guesser, because your conscious mind wants to jump in and keep you safe. It's what's kept you alive all these years through the evolutionary process. Is that a tiger sneaking up on you or something benign? And so your conscious mind wants to run the show, and you need to keep it busy. So as a basic viewer, the noun is what you don't want to get sucked into. A gestalt is the I-ness, or the relationship to something has, such as the major gestalts. It's a concept. So the major gestalts are, I won't name them all, but for instance, land, water, space, biological. There are 4 of the 7. So if you pick water as a gestalt, and that's what your ideogram is, the physical representation of anything that is related to water, whether it's a cup of coffee, diesel fuel, a river, an ocean, a lake, fog, mist, ice, snow, that's all water related. So that is a gestalt versus a noun, which is a concept, versus a namer and guesser. So is that close enough of an overview? Did I hit what you wanted to hit? I know I kind of flew by it in a hurry there.
Yeah. Basically, a noun is the name of a person, place, or thing.
Oh, well then.
A gestalt is the I-ness of something. Like you say, could it be land? It could be land, but the gestalt is there is landiness here. Okay. And you could say, there's car. Okay. A car is a thing, that's a noun. But is there movingness here or transportationiness here? And the reason you do that is because once you use a noun, you lock yourself into your stereotype of that noun, and you trap yourself. But if you use gestalt, you say there's wateriness here. Oh, really? Describe it. And you stay free to not get locked into whatever it is.
Maybe you should teach this.
You do great.
I don't mean tonight. I mean, I was just being facetious. Like, maybe you should take up control remote viewing and, start a school or something.
Hey, maybe that's an idea. Maybe I might do that. Of course, I've just basically closed my school, but anyway.
I know. Okay, so moving into phase 2, he has learned to list his descriptors and his stray cats, and I addressed that his hillside isn't a gestalt, and he hasn't really found his AI yet. And we talked about they could be subtle or they could hit you upside the head, and he's picking up some emotionals and conceptuals, and moved into phase 3 in sketching. And we discussed cueing yourself at the end of phase 3 with purpose, and that we're looking for examples of recreational, touristy, work-related, educational, and industrial, historical, things like that. Then he moved into a summary and wrote the targets his gestalts, the aspects of organic, land, water. During his session, he started picking up descriptors, perceptions of space, natural, and motion, so he got the rest of them. And then he started going down through and listing them. So all of these photos that I listed here and the information that I gave you, when he starts going through looking to see what he had, there is some storytelling in here, but if you list single perceptions at a time, he got a lot of good stuff. I have a lot of folks over here. I need to scroll. There he is. Hey, Ron. What, if anything, would you like to ask or comment on, or is this your first target per se?
Well, the first thing I noticed, I should have went 011 instead of 0101.
That's all right. I said it's a very common thing to do, and a lot of times you still end up going to the right target anyway.
Yeah.
But,
I've got a ways to go yet.
well,
Don't we all?
But you were doing a lot of good things as far as tapping on it, listening, cueing yourself with sounds and taste and such as that. So you've got the organic has aspects of being cold, wet, hungry, and excited. Possibly animals might be present. Large and slow moving. Possibly light colored, black, white, red, and might be present. And land is flat, partly grassy with some dirt. Land has aspects of brown, green, yellow, and grassy smell and bitter taste. Seems open. And I thought he might be having a bit of an AI when he had that open area perception. And
have you ever tasted rock salt?
Yes, I have.
It has a bitter taste in it.
Yeah, I used to taste it when we made ice cream.
Yeah, it's not like table salt.
I don't think I've ever tasted it then, because I thought it probably tasted salty, like salt water, because we made ice cream too.
No, there's a pretty good difference.
Really. Hillside seems to be present, grassy sloping to the right, and there seems to be trees. He's seeing green, brown, black, and maybe something tapping on hollow wood. There's aspects of a river, narrow, fast-moving, aspects of whitewater rapids and stones, maybe calm sections, still water, and picture-like, possibly giving a feeling of happiness. Something fishy-like appears to be present. It seems to be large, silvery metal, like wet and slippery. Seems to be bell sounds and possibly something clanging, and smell of burnt plastic and a feeling of being trapped. Not bad for your first session, I don't think, huh?
Well, it doesn't look anything like I would have thought it would have looked like.
It never really will, or it's rare when it does. What happens is your conscious mind is trying to get the target, and it develops a picture, and it says, oh, I know what it is, and keeps trying to name it, and so on. Your subconscious mind, through the process of CRV, can slip perceptions in that are sort of common to what you think the target is and what it really is. And so a lot of times you'll read your summary and see the feedback, and you'll say, oh, that's not what I was seeing at all. I totally missed it. And yet 90 to 100% of the descriptions you have in your summary are dead on the target. And so it's sort of a ball game back and forth that your conscious and subconscious mind plays. It won't rob you of what you think the target is, but it's sneaky, and it'll slip in those perceptions that are common to both. It's a neat process, really.
If I keep working on those ideogram drills, will that help with my conscious subconscious?
Actually, yeah, depending on how you do the ideograms. If you're doing the ideograms as a just say tactile connection to the target, then you'll get better at it, yeah, but that will not solve the problem of getting rid of the nouns. If you develop the ideograms as a language, that will go a long way toward helping you get rid of the nouns.
Okay.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
If you guys didn't send things in, we'd have nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk about, nothing to share. And then we won't learn as much. So, all right, let me grab Richie. He's got 7 pages and his summary is separate. So, Richie is an operational viewer, actually. There he is, all the way from the UK.
No, from Ireland.
Well, sorry. Over there, sorry.
Linda said to say hi to you next time I talk to you. So hi from Linda. Hi from me too.
Oh, thanks, Lynn.
I'm sorry about the time zone. How are you holding up over there?
Oh, yeah, we're okay.
Oh, God love your heart. Okay, well, one Enneagram alone, 4 of them there, and you've got all sorts of gestalt, land, natural, biological, man-made. First, right off the bat, bang, hit the ground running. All right, moving through phase 2. And the AI is in front of me, and I see that I wanted to ask you if you could talk to us about I feel okay. You write that quite a bit in your session. Could you talk to us just a little bit about that?
Well, that's how I feel at the time. That's basically it. It's just how I feel when I get to the site. That's what I feel. It's the only thing I know to write.
For those who are not familiar with the AI like that, when you get to the site and it's spatially in front of you or something, excuse me, it's going to make you feel something. And the normal beginner will do what's called John Wayning. You ask John Wayne, how are you today? And he'll say, well, it's a mighty fine day. And that's not an answer to your question. And what you're supposed to do in the AI is exactly what Richie did. He told where it was spatially, it's in front of me, and then how does he feel? And that's exactly what he put. He didn't say, it looks big or anything like that. He said, I feel okay. And the reason is that feeling is an emotion, and you have to get rid of that emotion. So after the AI, you keep the target in front of you, but you've gotten rid of the emotion of your feeling about the target, and then you can move on cleanly.
And then moving on to your sketch. Looking at the feedback, Richie, do you have any idea where you might be, what you might be exploring as far as this? This is a big area and very interesting.
No, I wasn't aware of anything other than I did the sketch. If you look at the bottom of the sketch there, it's like a roadway or something. I wasn't sure. I didn't get any feedback from that really when I was trying to work it. But I hadn't a clue, and I didn't try to think of what it should be or what it could be. I just left it.
Good for you.
So, yeah.
In other words, you just got a perception and wrote it down. You got a perception
That's
and wrote
just,
it down.
I tend not to think about it, and I just do it, and I never ever look back at my notes.
Me either.
Yeah.
No, once I'm done, I'm done.
Yeah.
But if you look at this, white, tall, smooth, ridged, lines, and vertical. Look at this right here.
Yeah.
And,
well, I knew that, obviously.
Open, brown, gray, wet light, open. I mean, it does. I think it looks very shiny, like it could be wet, but it said wet light. So, open and distant. Then you've got pointed, gray, white, metallic, rounded. Smooth, dark, quiet, warm. White, rock light, and strong. Hot, metallic, dark, and it's ridged and vertical. White, concrete lights, dark, light, electric, yellow. Humming sound, motion, biological, human. And folks, here he took a break. He wrote break at 14:08, resumed at, or unless that's 16, 14 or 16, 50 on each of those. And then he's moved into phase 4. And he had, if you'll notice, for those of you who don't do this, he has his phase in his sketch in phase 3. And you can actually probe your sketches for impressions because those are ideograms. So he's labeled them in different areas, and then he's come down because you don't want to write on your sketch, and you never want to cross through a sketch and then redo it. You can move down and start over, but you don't want to redo a sketch on top of what you already did, like come back to it. That's what I'm trying to say. But that's what he's done, is he's numbered and then wrote the perceptions down for what is in this area. So his white and ridged is pertaining to number 2 up here on the left. And I don't know what the pointed stuff is off to the left of it.
I wonder if those are mountains nearby.
Because over here, there's all kinds of jaggedy stuff on the opposite side of the room. So for all we know, it might look like that on this side of the room too. So in phase 4, he's starting to branch out and explore different parts. And he's setting aside some perceptions of another target that were starting to creep into his head. And then he's says people at the site are taking an interest, understanding, and looking into the distance. The folks there at the site. That's the way they feel. So let's see. I'm just going to go here and find his summary. The target has elements of land, biological, natural, and man-made. Land is green, dark, gray, white, open, clear, wet, light, brown, distant, tall, smooth, ridged. Richie, I'm just going to mute you because of the feedback just for a second. I thought maybe I didn't click square. Vertical, rounded, rock-like, and outside. The biological has or is gray, wet, blue, bright green, brown, tall, warm, white, dark motion, circular, still, taking in an interest, understanding, looking to the distance. It's long, looking around, and not worried. The natural is or has open, white, bright, fresh, green, brown, wet, light, fresh, distant, ridged, rounded, pointed, quiet, warm, rock, like, yellow sound, humming motion, a biological, human, vast area, space, circular, and flat. And the man-made has lines, vertical, smooth, rough, gray, pointed, metallic, wooded, round, concrete-like, electric sound, humming motion, biological, human, dark, brown, green, rectangular, tall, big, flat, railings, horizontal, vertical, and long. So I would say you have a lot of hits when you start taking those individually. Lynn, if you want to hop in here anytime.
I think it was great. Yeah, he's got so many hits in there, and the hits are organized, according to the Gestalt. And shoot, he gets a gold star on this one.
Yeah, I thought so too. Because I can't really see much of anything that he has listed that I'm not able to find.
By the way, see those stalactites?
Yeah.
Those aren't man-made. This is underground and water seeps down through the salt.
Right. I can't imagine how these guys, the miners, were such artisans. It blows me away.
No television.
Yeah. It was certainly a labor of love, I think. Richie, do you have anything you want to add or ask? Thank you for contributing. We appreciate it.
No, I'm just happy to do the practice. Practice, practice, practice. That's my motto.
I can tell you've been doing just that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm trying to... Sorry, Lynn?
I say it shows that you've practiced and practiced. It really makes a difference.
Sure does. It's exciting when something you don't know what you're doing and then you see something says, oh, I got those colors or whatever. So, yeah, it's exciting. I find this very exciting and intriguing. So, thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for being with us, especially in the middle of the night, for heaven's sakes. Great session. Thanks for letting us use it to teach people too, and let us see what you're able to do.
Thank you, and thank you, Lynn.
Oh, thank you. By the way, did you say you're coming to the States to go to Amarillo?
I'm thinking later in the year, if that's okay.
Well, we've got the coffee pot on, so
yeah,
we're waiting for you.
Yeah, and just in case you didn't know, I met Laurie and Jim in London last week on their way back from Russia. So I had 3 days with them. So
yeah, did you hear about Jim's medical problems when he got back?
Yeah, I think it was on the Wednesday we were out for 14 hours walking around looking at sites. I think it was just he overdid it. Well, we all did, but it just caught up with him with the time change and the traveling and, you know, being away for so long. I just think it just caught up with him, yeah.
And airplanes are just deadly on, you know, for blood clots in your legs and everything. So that's what we worried it was.
Yeah, I know. I shouldn't be asking. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, everything, all his tests came out clear anyway. So, apparently.
Good.
Yeah, he's home again.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Does anybody have a burning desire to go next?
I'm hanging on here for another little while, and then I'm just going to click off because I'm in work for 6 o'clock, so I'll get a few hours sleep. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Thanks again.
All right.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to put Marco on because he's in Iceland and it's the middle of the night over there too. Hey, Marco, are you with us? There you are. Hey, are you awake? Oop. Maybe there are other folks here he doesn't want to wake up. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm loud and clear.
Oh, good morning.
Almost.
Approaching morning.
What is it, almost 3 in the morning there?
It's getting close to 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, okay.
Yeah.
And I think Richie's probably, we just did this in an email, I think. I think it's pushing 2 there. I think we would have been starting at 1 at his time. So anyway, Marco, hi, thanks for sharing. Hello from Iceland.
Yes, hello.
Lots of gestalts. Good job. Have you been away from viewing for a bit?
I did last one in February. February, it was operational for Kale. You know, because he lives in Seattle there. So she said it's okay also for a basic student to take part. And I used the chance.
I'm looking here. Note, I am interested about the object.
Yeah.
Got your attention?
Yeah, there was something that got my attention, yes.
And it's going in a circular motion, and you really work this space too. Look at all those perceptions.
Well, there's probably some rubbish also.
Do you think?
I have to look it better, but
if there's rubbish in there, that means you're like the rest of us.
I was gonna say, I think it's normal if there's rubbish in there.
yeah.
So your AI says, black object in front of me, interested.
Yeah.
All right.
There again, it gives his emotional reaction to it being in front of him. Very important, and a lot of people miss that when they learn about the AI.
Another sketch here with listing of perceptions below it. There's man-made, it's brown, black, metallic, hollow, serves a function, it's expansive. There are biologicals, group talking, looking, they're knowledgeable. There's motion, moving about, electrical in nature, looks like guide, and flashy.
Quick.
Quick. Thank you so much. Sorry about that. Get my bifocals. I have to tip my head, get the bifocals up on the computer right.
I actually have a question. As Lynn always teaches to end the session with purpose. I mean, phase 4. And I got learning. Because it's a museum almost like now, yeah? This place.
Yes, it is.
So you can say people go to learn something about, history, what they did there, stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah. The reason you always end stage 3 with the cue of purpose is because purpose is not a dimensional or a sensory, which is what you've been working on up until now, just sensory and dimensional perceptions. And so it sort of kickstarts you out of stage 3 and into stage 4. And I apologize for not being over there in Iceland and teaching the intermediate. I still have hopes.
Well, hope dies last, as they say.
He's holding out for you.
I really wanted to go, I'll tell you. And it just, with the health situation here, it just didn't work.
Sure. I understand.
Just pointing out then here on page 6, you took a break and you came back, and to get site contact again, you took your coordinates and got a couple of more ideograms and gestalts and went back into phase 2, and then page 7 wrote your summary. Land has elements of man-made land, biological, natural, motion. The land is wide across, flat, gray, green, outscale, or outside.
Outside.
Cool, hard. That's stale?
Stale, I think so, yeah.
Dark brown. The motion, by the way, stale smell, taste, stale what?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Stale is like blank or something,
The salt mines have a smell about them because it puts something into the air. But a lot of the salt mines, like in Germany, that are closed, people go there for the air, and the smell is stale. And Ron a while ago said that he had tasted the bitter because of the rock salt that goes into making ice cream. But if you get the salt out of the ground and it's the pure rock, salt, it has a bitterness and it has a smell to it that is probably best described as kind of stale smelling. It's a smell you just don't get anywhere else. It's strange.
Let's see. The motion is hot, electrical, repeating, circular, moving out. The natural is green, park-like, yellows, bright colors, stacked, background. Man-made, go ahead.
Yeah, background, yeah.
Okay. Man-made is black, metallic, hollow, box-like, heavy, rounded corners, valuable, precise, cool-looking, technical, protected, functional, expensive, biological, standing, talking, looking, middle-aged, and probably other things at the site. Oh, the purpose was learning. So I think perception by perception, there's a lot of good stuff in here. What do you think?
I think, I stayed on the top of the target. I mean, so I got mostly outside perceptions. I didn't, I didn't venture to the mine that dimension, But I was thinking, take action cues, but darn it, I didn't do it.
Well, you got open, wide, black, wide. Got a lot of wide. You've got outside, and if you start looking at each perception, though, by itself, without building stories, yes, no, or maybe, I think that there's a lot of them that are going to be there. One of these days, I'll put up a target that has like 2 cats in a box, and if you don't get 2 cats in a box, then I guess you're probably going to score yourself pretty hard. But I think that here, there are a lot of things that are going to match.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little bit of winking about the site, but it didn't look like much. I mean, it looked like on each one of these, he got onto a part of the site, stayed there, and then, but it looks like there was some winking about the site from up above, down below, and so on. Especially, I forget where it was, where he started describing what I thought to be the rock, the brown, I don't know. Anyway, I saw it a while ago. I don't remember where it was or what it was, but you could tell that from the quick change in descriptors that he had jumped. And, it's called winking about the site. Everybody does it. And so I think if you actually scored this to get a number, you'd have close to 90 or up in the 90s. I think you did a great job on this.
I mean, he's gotten the electrical components. He's got high, spacey, technical, wiry, electrical, gathering momentum,
And he's got the people milling around and so on. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you have to look also at my vocabulary still is not so expansive. Expansive? No.
Good. Very good.
So,
our Icelandic is sort of limited too.
Yeah, I was going to say our Icelandic is not expansive at all.
Yeah, but what I did, I just when I got the perception other than English, I just translated straight away into the paper. I mean, is that okay? So for you guys, it's better. I was thinking like that.
I think you did great.
All right. I will still do the scoring. You see the score. Yeah, and anyway, thank you. Thank you.
Did you have any extra questions or anything you wanted to get in real quick?
No, I just want to say you did a great job reading through the words. Yes, I'm not known. I'm not very well known for good handwriting, and so you did great. And great to see you all again.
I'm glad you could be here.
Yeah, good hearing you.
I know you try a lot, and it's kind of hard to make it, so we appreciate you coming. We're going to get you intermediate level yet.
We'll go to the next level soon.
Yeah. I'm just hopping around here. Miss Deborah, very brief summary, okay? We'll start with that. Vast, complex, bizarre target that cannot easily be comprehended, low and high elements possible, outside and inside elements. Up high is an intense energy source and force that I cannot adequately understand. If I were a physicist, I could do it more justice. Emotional components, by the way, I think Michelle's going to bond with you. Emotional components are negative, angry, volatile elements of something up high in air connected to a land mass or structure with an edge drop-off. Not friendly. I may be fixated on the wrong parts. And death and anger. This was an unusual experience getting sucked into a vortex. So this is a good size session for somebody who posted on Facebook you're going to roll out of bed so you can get a session in. 21 pages.
How deep is underground is this mine?
It says here, I think 150 feet. I'm going.
I saw it. It's 200 meters. Over 200 meters, it says. I saw that flashing by somewhere.
Sorry about that.
Over 200 meters below ground, it holds an astonishing secret.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's 600 feet, basically. Probably about 650 feet.
Deborah, if you want to hop in here anytime, I'm going to scroll down and look at your sketches because you always get a ton of information. I took your mic off mute. And there you go. I actually wondered, I might be out of mic. I'm going to have to, just a second. Nope, you're a panelist. You should be able to talk.
The thing.
There you go. Okay.
The thing that's up right now.
Sure.
It's up right now, windy, dusty, blowing, whirling. In these deep mines, they have to have constant ventilation, and so in all of these deep mines like this, there's a wind, and it seems like no matter, you can't really find out where it's coming from, but it seems to always be windy down in these really, really deep mines like this.
And you've got a spot here that's not to go into. There's a deep drop off. It says you're not allowed to go every place. I'm looking at your move command. You're 500 yards above the target, 1 foot above, and at the base level. Word dying and set aside like tomb. Or tomb in quotation marks. Strong currents. Oh, nice little people. And they're clapping. I can't draw that well. How cool.
So I was getting statues and a lot of religious type things, like someone saying, "Let there be light."
Oh, we have an interim summary. Religious figure, you're AOLing. Some odd or ritualistic behaviors. Well, I won't say odd, but ritualistic, that would be Catholics. Yes, sir, ma'am. Yeah. Spent some time on my knees myself. Windy source, it's massive, unusual, one thing getting sucked up into another. I'm glad Lynn knows about the wind and everything down there.
Well, I know about mining. You know, a rock hound. There's not a mine I won't go down into.
Oh, jeez. And look at this. Ethereal won't be able to identify with logical mind.
Hey, down there.
Yeah. Look at that. Describe what at the bottom drop off. Word I don't know came up twice now. Ventricular. I know that word. That's a good word. I don't know what it has to do with the mind, though. We have to look that up with the source. But your ventricles are the two lower chambers of your heart. So a ventricle is a chamber. What do you think of that, Lynn? That's kind of winging it.
It could also be related to vents. Like I say, there's dead air down there. If you don't have just massive air exchange blowing down in there and then blowing out, you suffocate down there very, very quickly.
She's got vestibular too, at your ear. Image of surgeons taking out a little piece of something. A different kind of target than given before. This is not the kind of target you can name.
This being down in mines like this is a whole lot more alien than you might think. I mean, it's a tourist thing, but it's totally different. And sometimes when people come by here, and I take them to the mines down in Oro Grande, we'll go down into the mines and turn the lights off. It is a darkness darker than anything you've ever experienced in your life. It's a massively oppressive black. If you ever get a chance to go down into one of these mines or down into like Carlsbad Caverns, something like that, in Carlsbad Caverns, they turn off the lights for about 30 seconds and everybody feels like it's 2 hours. But it's a real experience. If you ever get a chance to do this, go down there. It's a totally different experience from anything else.
Deborah interviews a lot during her session too. And here she's interviewing an old man who's very likely infuriated that I'm here, about to give himself a heart attack. His white hair and beard and robes, you idiot, and protecting something dear, like in trickles of water, flings himself up against the ledge and might fall off. His back is up against something. Hard goes to high and low, can see area at 360 degrees. Fast height also lows, and AI Deborah is starting to feel nauseated and like there's something violent, ugly there. But Deborah, even though you're having this really yucky sensation like there's something bad going on, you don't leave session. You're on page 13 of 21. What makes you stay?
Oh, I was actually having a great time because it's just making me more curious.
Mm-hmm. I mean, as if any of us leave in the middle of an argument with anybody, but I just wanted to ask, you have every opportunity to walk away, and you didn't. You just kept on viewing.
Yeah.
I've said it before to where it sounds like I'm a stuck record or something, but the difference between a good remote viewer and a world-class remote viewer is just curiosity. That curiosity will make you world-class.
And you want to describe the source of the force. Drizzling, dripping seems to be a spiritual aspect or up in the air aspect, and it makes you feel kind of dizzy and sick. And something has angles and points, and don't think you can sketch it. And vast amounts of something and something being poured.
There was some kind of energy. The energy. I couldn't to understand it more, but it was kind of this energy dynamic that I've never experienced in a session, and I still don't know exactly what it would be, except maybe like Lynn was talking about the wind, but it was very unusual.
Yeah, going into the deep mines is like they say about Mount Fuji, you know. You're crazy if you don't ever do it. You're crazier if you do it twice.
And another thing that Deborah does is she asks, what have I missed? Other people will say, move to the tasker's intent and describe, move to the most important part of the target and describe. Some people will do backloading to see if they've addressed. If they hadn't taken front loading, you could do backloading, see if they've addressed what the tasker's question was.
Would you address what backloading is?
Sure. Front loading is a neutrally worded question that you want the conscious mind to have something to do and keep it busy and out of the way, and something for the subconscious mind to be able to describe. So that's like the target is an activity, describe the activity, and that gives you everything that's about the activity and related to it, or the target is an activity, describe the target, which just gives you just the activity and not anything and everything related to it. So that's front loading. You can take that if you want to. Lynn has developed 10 commandments of front loading. You can be completely blind and just take your coordinates or whatever it is that you're using to cue yourself for sight contact. Or you can take front loading, which helps you learn where to focus your work, which amounts to, instead of doing quite so much winking about the sight, your subconscious will go directly to what the tasker's question was pertaining to. And so if you don't want to take front loading, but possibly you want to begin your session, you can take mid loading, which is the same thing, to see if you're addressing the question that was being asked in the first place. Get better sight contact, gives you a little regrouping in the middle of your session and a refocusing opportunity if you've been doing a little too much wandering around being curious.
And that usually happens right after the AI. Here's the target right in front of you or something, and you say, okay, now where am I supposed to put my work? Then you look at the front loading in the middle of your session, and it says, describe the activity. Oh, now I know where to put my work.
You mean I don't get to describe the peonies always? I love peonies, but they collect a lot of ants.
You're in charge of the session, yeah.
And then you just, at the end of your session, if you want to know if you have actually addressed what the tasking was, you can check your front loading and do it at the end. And if you described everything but, for whatever reason, everything but what the tasking in the front loading was geared toward, then you can do it at the end, and instead of ending your session, you can go back in or keep on and address it at that time.
Yeah, most beginners will tend to always describe the site, and at the end, maybe you've described the site all the way through, and you say, okay, but what was the task? And you look at your front loading, and it says, describe the activity. Oh, okay, well, I didn't describe the activity. I saw something going on, so I'm going to go back now and see what's going on. That's the activity. And the backloading just gives you that last final little check of, did I pay attention to the right part of the target?
And so to elaborate on that for maybe some of the newer folks or somebody who hasn't done this, you have gotten perceptions in your session that you can now bring down and cue yourself and explore those perceptions, the ones that would pertain to an activity. This is where you come back in. Gracie to George.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, you did great.
Okay. Well, I thought you'd have a little postscript there, so.
No.
Okay. All right. Let's see. And just because Deborah's sessions usually have a wealth of information in them, large thing that hangs and swings and moves to the left. Well, I'll be darned. We did have hanging chandeliers, vibrating, electrical, not sure if you can see.
And 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. Swings in the air or moves in air. Pendulum effect may hit a surface. Electrical components or qualities, reverberates, and vibrations, smashing. Oh, wouldn't that be awful if one of those fell? Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, if one of those fell on you, it would immediately put salt in the wound, wouldn't it?
Oh.
Sorry for that.
Very good. Get a gold star for that one. Volatile, aggressive, angry, divine. Anything else I missed? Took her coordinates again. Drop off seems like there's a vast time period, different points in time. Timeline here with past, present, movement, and future. Past is bizarre, freezing, and sucked into a vortex. Present, movement, erratic, overgrown. Seems like this is a low point, bottom. Feeling of resentment and shaking. Future, here, save your money for later. This may not be connected to the target. End session. What do you think, ma'am?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I mean, I had a sense that, I've been finding I have to just keep telling myself that my job is not to name the target or to know what I'm looking at, and I'm making a point of just reminding myself that like every couple of minutes in my session. No, I don't care about what this is. I just want to.
Yeah, for those who are new to this, generally in operations, if somebody gives you a target, they already know what the target is. What they want is descriptors. And just like in the thing with gestalts and nouns, if if you lock yourself into something, then, you know, by naming it, and you go through and you want to find out what the target is, and so you say, oh, finally, I know, this is a ball game. Guess what? You just trapped yourself into a ball game. And so the rule in remote viewing is describe, don't identify. Because as long as you don't identify it, you're completely open to any descriptors that come through. And you don't want to trap yourself. And this is good. A good session.
I muted myself. Thank you for coming, Deborah.
Oh, thank you. I lost you for a minute there.
Oh, yeah. And my video quit working. I have no idea what's going on with that. Huh. My webcam got disconnected. I'm not too sure what's all about that. Huh. Any more questions? Anything you wanted to bring up?
No, this was a really great target. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Just something I wandered into off the net somewhere. Okay, let's...
Actually, Teresa is a really good selector of good targets, and that's an art form, actually. You'll find a lot of... somebody go kill Alexander Graham Bell, would you?
No, I keep telling you can't do that. Without Alexander Graham Bell, we don't have computers and we don't have this stuff.
Some days I would accept that as a good alternative. But I forget what I was saying anyway.
Yeah, we were talking about picking targets.
Oh, yeah. You'll find a lot of target sites out there, a target monkey or whatever, and they have a lot of bad targets. And a lot of times they're, you know, somebody will pick a target that looks good to the eye or that they think would be really funny to give you. And there's no real sensories, there's not any real gestalts, there's not any dimensionals that you can name, and no purpose to the target. And so you get a bad session, and you start blaming yourself. Oh, I can't do this. I'm pig slop and all that. When actually the problem was a bad target. And coming to these things, Teresa is a great selector of really good targets, and so you're doing well here.
Thanks, boss. I try to give us, well, I put out that post, you know, I tried to give everybody the space station going, you know, who'd have thought you could be at home at your house and describe the space station? You know, you like went to the space station, and the opposite is, you know, the tunnel. You're down there and you got to experience how quiet it is in the tunnel, and maybe there might be some horrific event where we would be asked to see if, you know, how the people were doing, if they were trapped or something, like in a tunnel. So I thought that's kind of a real world possibility with real world association. So that's, and I don't know what's going on with my camera here, but that is why I kind of choose the targets that I do, that they're unusual opportunities, and maybe someday it's like the first time you do something, it's winking about the site and you're a little nervous about it and all of that. Well, you can say you actually were in a tunnel once doing this, and maybe you won't wink quite as long. So maybe my thinking's a little skewed there, but I wanted to give us a dress rehearsal. So, okay, but thank you very much. I'm thinking about putting out just a little offering to the community and offering a certificate. If you come, I will send you a certificate that you knew what the military taught as far as target selection, and that we don't just pick something because we think it's a pretty picture. There's a reason behind it, and you could go away with a certificate for what it's worth that says that you were coached in these things, and you understand that if you are out there doing some work and find out that somebody doesn't know what the heck they're doing, this is the criteria that you should be looking for. So if they don't know these things, then it would be nice if they would learn too. So.
And rule 1 of target selection, never give a target of a cat.
Oh, Lynn's first rule. You can't. That's just Lynn's particular little bit of a bias there.
You can, but nobody's going to get the target.
They might if they like cats, but
I love cats, I really do, but they are just vacuums in space. That's all they are, you know.
All right. No particular order here. My cursor landed on Michelle, so let's see. We have 12 pages, and Michelle is finished her basic requirements with me. She's done pushing upwards, I think, of 30 targets by now. And I thought she might like this one. It has spiritual connotation to it. She picks up on that kind of thing. So let's see, no POCAs. And let's see, your POCDs are what your set-asides are. So yeah, you do have a few POCDs because you've listed them down below with your set-asides. Good job. Boy, I tell you, for her, I think it has natural tendencies, and for the longest time she would hit the ground viewing, and for her to rein herself in and force herself, it'd be like me. I'd go nuts sitting at the piano doing scales. I don't think I could handle it.
This is impressive format so far.
Look at her.
This is beautiful.
Is it? Boy, I tell you what, she really had to coach herself on this. I will sit here and I will do this right.
This is the kind of structure that you take around and show off to people. This is great.
Yep. Straight's had a red, white, and blue fabric. Well, we had some bunting and stuff there in the front. I don't know about the blue. There's green, but there's red and white. Let me scroll back up here. Let's see. Moving down into phase 2, you did a good job. And mill around. Good. And you know what? I am seeing less sentence and story writing and more perceptions. Nice work.
Thank you.
You've been practicing?
Not enough.
Yeah. Inside the UN. I bet it does kind of have an international flavor. Ambiance. Very good. Touristy Trump. You got that right. You know, I don't think you're castle building so much this time. What do you think?
You know, I'm having a problem, believe it or not, with time.
Go ahead. The man
Well,
it's time to ask.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware that I have, once I go into session, I like it. I could be there for a day or two. So.
Uh-oh, an ether addict.
Shush up. So I said, I'm going to try to
Did
go.
you hear that? She just told her teacher to shush up.
No.
That's the Irish coming out on her.
No, I told my neighbor.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was trying to just stay on task and go quickly get off, but I had something like wrong with the vibration of time. And that's something that I'm kind of going to be taking notes and understanding a little bit more with the next practice sessions that I have.
Please explain to me, because Lynn will probably have something to say about AI straight ahead. Great, much better. The energy is intense, so you're feeling that. Is that how it made you feel? And then what is daytime traffic of people felt severe, so I switched to night and it is more manageable? What does that mean?
Excuse me. The energy is intense. Is that how you feel?
Yeah.
Or is that what is straight ahead?
Okay.
You're feeling the energy like physically, and we're asking about the emotion. That's your AI.
Okay. For me, the best way I can describe it is the energy felt intense to me. There were a lot of people, and it felt like they were, I don't know if it was like a younger crowd of school kids or what, but I just felt like, you know, pushing and shoving, and like I just wanted out of there, you know? And maybe that's...
Okay, then the energy was intense to you and you just wanted to get out of there? Yeah, those two things were your emotional reaction, and that's good. What I wanted to make sure of was that you were not saying straight ahead, there is energy that is intense, because that's John Wayning. You know, that's describing the target instead of your own reaction to it. But
no, this is me.
Is your reaction to it. That's great. That's fantastic.
So then, actually, her AI is. Let me see if I can type this here. So you said the energy was intense. It made. Well, how did it make you feel? I want to get out of here. You were uncomfortable, or what did you just say to me?
Like, I was all of a sudden aware that, like, I was like there was a lot of people in a small space, and I just like wanted away from it. And
it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, I wanted away from it. That is your emotion. The fact that there are people there is a description of the target. But the real emotion is, I just wanted away from it.
What she's trying to say here. So what you're trying to say is, the energy is intense. You can make a note of that, but what you're saying is, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I want out of here. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it wasn't like a wanting to get away from the target so much as it was figuring out that I wanted out of the space that I was in, like it was a tight, like I want to scoot, or I was aware that I had freedom to change where I was. So that was kind of actually a good thing for me, because...
Okay, let's back it up.
Okay.
And that's perfect. That was your emotion, yeah.
I understood that I could move around and I could get away from the people, so that I could get back with the target. And then I felt like really great, like, okay, now I can breathe. Now I can see. This is good. But before it was like I was just aware of, there were just a lot of people right there.
Okay, so you had your emotional response, and you understood that you were safe and okay, but you recognized your emotional response, and you didn't write it per se, but that's what you needed to do. Once you recognized it and set it aside and declared it, then you're still able to go on viewing.
Well,
yeah, and the viewing then would be, you know, I went out of here. There are lots of people here. It is crowded, stuff like that.
You know, I even thought about, I was a little bit confused with the AI, because I thought about drawing what I was experiencing right there.
That's totally an acceptable thing to do.
Okay.
Don't you guys, I have a question. This is Deborah. Don't you feel like pretty much we should always write down like absolutely everything we were aware that we're feeling, like anything that's coming to us at all, just make sure it all comes on the paper. I mean, it seems like she really had so much that was going on. She probably could have written just a whole page right there of all what she was experiencing. It just didn't quite get down on paper.
That's the goal of remote viewing. It's also hard to do, almost to the point of being impossible, because of one thing. It's called a too much break. When you start writing down everything you get, your subconscious mind says, "Ooh, she's listening. Well," and it just starts piling the information in on you to the point where you can't keep up with it in writing. It's one of the major problems of remote viewing and dealing with your subconscious mind that I don't think anybody has ever really found a way around it except Ingo. Ingo devised the too much break, where you just back out of session and say to your subconscious, "Hey, that's too much. Slow down." And then after your mind settles down, you go back into viewing, and your subconscious says, "Okay, I'll go at your speed."
And another learning point for you is you felt you wanted to switch to night and it's more manageable. So did you give yourself a move to nighttime and describe?
I did. I just it was just a very quick thing, and I was kind of shocked, but it was immediately like quieter and more peaceful, and I don't know, it just somehow.
It worked for you.
It did.
Yeah, I bet they have nighttime tours.
And look, there's a lake. I mean, it looks like a lake to me. Sorry, your session. I was a little excited there, I admit it. Long spread balcony. Yeah. You should see this little photo right here. I just brought up my Google. And I didn't put this one in. There's two balconies right there with stairs on both sides.
Mhm. And I like the clickety floors.
Oh, you like that? I bet.
Yeah. I could hear it.
Were you one of those kids that used to put thumbtacks in the soles of your shoe?
I still do. I am known to wear tap shoes everywhere. Yes.
Ah. All right, purpose. Good job. You cued yourself. Let me see if I can. I doubt if I can. I'm not smart enough to make this go away. Summary. The target has aspects of man-made, motion, land, biologicals, and water. Excellent job. Man-made has large classically designed building. Motion was of groups of many nationalities, coming and going, in and out, up and down. Next. Land felt like middle of a busy city, well landscaped and worked by paths and flaps and signs.
Marked by.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry. Biologicals were varied, small groups
representing issues. I kind of was focused on kind of international groups coming there. I don't know.
Well, they said lots of different European. Intense listening and attentively, smaller groups outside main areas, touring, photographing. Water was in drinking fountains and artful decorative areas like feng shui.
Yes.
And you picked up your set-aside.
Yes.
Well, what do you think?
Well, I would like to thank everybody that turned in sessions tonight because I've enjoyed looking at them, you know, the different styles, but the great detail and, you know, how people use sketches, how people just, I don't know, just, I really appreciate all of the richness. It's an amazing night tonight, so thank you.
You're welcome. This is a great sketch right here, the balcony. And you, in this session, have turned a corner. I'm not seeing the paragraphs, the story writing, the analyzing in session what you think is going on. You're describing. You are getting a perception and writing it down, and getting a perception and writing it down, and you're moving down the page. I won't say it's a first for you, but it's the longest, I think, and most consistent.
Thank you. And I felt like I was flying through it, so I'm glad that you're saying that because that's not what I was feeling. I felt like I took it too lightly.
You mean the papers were flying and you couldn't write fast enough?
No, I just didn't feel like I was going in depth enough. And like I said, the whole thing of how much time to spend, kind of, you know, Lynn hit on it. You know, do you want to open that can of worms and stay there describing, or do you want to keep moving? That will be a problem for me, but.
Well, one of the things about keeping moving, like right there on, it says water and it says ornamental. Okay. You've sped through this and just hit everything lightly. But then at the end of your session, let's say you think ornamental, you can cue with the perception that you got and go in, just like you cue with the different gestalts or whatever, you can cue with one of your perceptions and say, well, I'm going to describe that ornamental thing. And that's where you put in the longer sessions and the detail and all that. But you don't try to bog yourself down at all while you're doing the session. It's after you finish and you feel really good, you know, about what you've gotten, then you can go back, or you can just turn your session in and your project manager will say, you said ornamental, would you describe that for me? And you're off and running on a new session.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
This was a beautiful session and the structure is just immaculate.
Thanks.
One thing down here on this last page where it says purpose.
Yes.
An office of law or government. That may be true. I don't know the Polish national park system or whatever they have. But what I wanted to explain for everyone who is just in that basic level, is that when you end your stage 3 with the cue of purpose, you write down the first thing you get. And it doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, and usually you don't even score the answer to purpose. If you're gonna score your session, the whole purpose, the whole reason to cue yourself with purpose is to get into the habit of kicking yourself out of stage 3. And that way, when you get into intermediate level work, you're into the habit of kicking yourself out of basic and into intermediate. And so that's the whole reason why you cue with purpose. And like I say, as far as the answer you get at this, you know, at the basic level, doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong, you're just developing a habit. So this is perfect.
I'm shocked. Thank you.
Well, if you, you know, come out of shock or you need resuscitate or anything, let us know. We'll still be here, all right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for your session and sharing. Okay, let's see. Janine's here. Russ is here. Oh, wrong one. All I did was click. I tried to click on a session, do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That didn't work. Let's see. We have 7 pages from Janine, and she is a self-taught viewer and she has had no advanced visuals, big gestalt or big ideograms, multiple gestalts, and moving into stage 2. Lots of
this
perception.
is impressive structure too.
Yeah.
I'm really getting impressed over this. When all else fails, the structure will carry you through. Even when you're having a bad day, you stay in structure, you're going to have a much better session.
And let's see, Janine does have a mic if she wants to jump in there. Or those are awesome sketches. Oh, that is for Michelle. Awesome sketches. Yes, they are. She's a good sketcher too. Janine will be chirping in here with a sketch here in about a second. Lots of perception structures. Thanksgiving. She's getting a feeling of Thanksgiving. Well, there are people praying there. Probably some Thanksgiving would be in order, but not the holiday per se. Then we've got a balcony of a building overlooking a city with tall buildings, dome structure, stone on balcony with a question mark. Would you take my watch off like Simon McGregor? Oh, that was a good show. And her thoughts are pretty scattered. Yes, she said she was kind of sick this week in her email. All right, here is the person who never thinks she does a very good job and just taught herself and wanted to see how far she could go with this over the last year. And look what we're looking at. There's her sketch. And if I move this thing over.
How horrible. You didn't get the guy in the white shirt walking outside.
Yeah. Yeah, sitting there on the steps with his chin.
Yeah.
Or I'm talking on a cell phone or something. Look at that. With trees at the end, doors on both ends and in the middle. And I don't know if you can see, I don't know if it's like, I don't really want to call it a facade. I don't know what exactly we have up here in the structure. If you Google it, you'll know for sure. But we probably have a little something sticking up down here. And it looks like it might be a weather vane. I can't say. But, yeah. Just go ahead and get out those wet noodles. Deborah said, oh, there's Janine making a comment. It was a show. I've never heard of Simon McGregor. Yeah, that was a show. Oh, okay, we're going to have to Google that now. What's weird about the watch, I got an image of a man's wrist with a watch. Deborah did too. Let's see, brick or stone, towers with doors, large windows with divided panes, not huge or grand, maybe 2 or 3 stories. And it says right here, it's it's like an unremarkable, unexciting building, but what's underneath? Trees and grass grow around it. There's a paved road, smaller. And go to something of the importance. She's cued herself at the target and wrote that in the center of the page so the analyst project manager knows that she's given herself a move command. And she thinks it could be possibly some sort of classroom. She's AOL'd that. And says, sounds like nonsense, doesn't seem like the target. We've got some, let's see, rectangular room, thick, some entrance wall or block, wider opening, long tables, chairs, lights on, feels utilitarian. Looks like
This is
Norman Bryan. Go ahead.
This is a total AOL on my part. Total AOL.
Okay.
But if this has turned into a museum over the last 10 years or so,
Mm-hmm.
that upper building probably has some kind of a library in it and some kind of just rows
Museum, gift shop. Yeah.
and rows of things in glass cases for you to look at and so on. In fact, I think it mentioned that somewhere on there that there were displays or something like that.
Might be able to pick that up here in this. It might have had more.
Well, like I say, that was a total AOL on my part, just a supposition.
It's very logical, actually.
That didn't mean it's real.
I was going to say, if you're going to go AOL, I was just going to tell you, well, you go off, and if we need to reel you back in from your AOL, we will. But I was thinking I saw a bench right there. Those are tables. They aren't benches, per se.
Is that
What's up to the front?
Is that a restaurant? I guess it is, isn't it?
Looks to me like, I bet they have the ability there to rent that out and have meetings and such, because that looks like business people having a seminar or something.
Right up at the top of that window, it said, as they would sprinkle salt on their meals.
Yeah. Yeah, it says the chandeliers
I see.
Yeah, it's not really about eating, but
yeah, okay.
Drew you there, didn't it? There's where I saw the benches. I knew they were there somewhere. They're in the chapel. And she's had a feeling of giving thanks. It's possible. If you all want to run with that, I'll let you.
Very good.
And then her summary. Ooh, look. I've been immemorialized. There, it says right there, I'm the tasker. Me. First impressions were of life, man-made, an object, space, land, and motion. Lots of gestalts. I felt that there was something moving or descending downwards. They definitely did that. Also have perceptions of a couple of people standing out on a balcony overlooking some city. Seemed to be an assortment of buildings, including one with a domed top. Had further perceptions of an older building, approximately 2 or 3 stories high, made of some dark, hard surface with large expanse of windows with panes. There seemed to be several towers with doors set into them. There was a hard surfaced something in road in front, and trees and grass surrounding the structure. It had older appearance. I also perceived inside room with thick inner walls as if blocks. It appeared to be lit and had long tables in it and had utilitarian feel. There were stray impressions of someone's or something running and an impression of giving thanks. I noticed that my perceptions don't appear to follow my ideograms. I am on drugs this week, awaiting a dental appointment. Ouch, Lynn can relate to that. Most of the impressions I got were scattered and probably not very reliable. Oh my.
Hope your dental appointment goes better than mine did. They had to cut my tooth out of the jaw.
Oh, she says it didn't.
Sorry about that.
And Deborah, let's see, we've got some comments over here. Deborah has to go in a minute, and she's thanking everybody. And moving this back over, I can scroll back up. And let's see, everybody, Janine's thanking Deborah and for a great session. And Janine, this is great work. I mean, as you said, you've done just totally self-taught stuff over the last year to see where you could go with it.
This is pretty impressive.
It is. One of these days, I've set my mind she's going to be my student. There's a song that goes with that. I just can't put my finger on it right now. Hang on, I have to, Simon McGregor. I can see. So yes, I am feeding into junk into the session. It was a show.
By the way, that thing like Simon McGregor is what's generally called a stray cat. It's the subliminal transfer of a recollection. And it's generally something about Simon McGregor that is also true of the site. And so there, once you get into intermediate, there's a way that you can go back and question and say, oh, what is it that's common to the two? But that's an intermediate tool. But that's generally called a stray cat. Stray cat stands for subliminal transfer of recollections, anxieties, and yearnings from consciously accessible thought. That's trivia.
Well, I'm teaching you a little bit on how to research the site if you aren't used to doing that. I was seeing if there was some association between Simon McGregor and I obviously am not remembering the TV show correctly. Simon somebody. He was an investigator. Thank you very much for, yeah, well, I lost what kind of show was it. I'm evidently wrong on that. I'll figure that out. Thank you for sending your session. Appreciate it. And let's see, Russ. We have one session from Travis who is not here. It's his first one ever, and we'll do it last. Yep, making sure I didn't have more than one page going here. Okay, Russ has 7 pages, and I haven't had a chance to look at anybody's anything except I scrolled real fast to see what Janine's sketch looked like. So Russ has got man-made biological, wet and spatial activity, active location with a natural water-land interface, and it seems cold. And good, Russ has got his mic.
Pretty good descriptor.
Yeah. And we've got metallic and polished, wiry, cord and cable-like, and there's all kinds of descriptors that go with people under textures. Colors are sea green, sun's glow, silver, many, and metallic. At least 6 watery areas. Yeah. Sun's overcast and 2 areas noted. Well, look at that sunshine and those clouds. Multiply fishy taste. And it smell. Go ahead, Lynn. Or Russ. I'm just reading. If you want to talk,
I can't really reply. I can't. It's too small. The print's too small. So
I can make it bigger. That help?
Quite a bit, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. But I'm done with it. I don't really look back. You have to look at it again now to remember what I did.
Yeah, then I clicked on it, so that messed it up. I know. I'm really bad about even doing summaries. When I'm done, I'm done. I'm moving on.
Yep.
I know Lynn just kind of like twitches.
Well, I noticed he described the smell as fishy.
Mm-hmm.
I get that for body odor too. It could be a stinky, something like that. That's what I've been getting it for lately.
Here again, a salt mine. It's really. I don't know of any way to describe the smell. You have to go experience it. But it's a cross between stale, dusty, old, slightly fishy would be a good descriptor of it, you know, sort of like stale dead fish or something, but the smell is just, if you ever get a chance, go to a salt mine, okay? There's your feedback.
I noticed the bios had laborious action, miserable condition, and they're like a vessel-like 4.
That vessel-like was more towards a religious way at the end. I didn't know how it will fit in, but that's where it was headed.
And your dimensions are tubular, metallic, thin, many overhead-like, rectangular, fans, pitch-like, rotational, spinning. Verticals are towering, diagonals are sloping, and the hill rises and they're shallow, watery. It's multi-level as stacked, the structure. And sheer height is tall with a spacey feel. Arch is a long arch up to the left. Religious emotions are religious, mannerly, with caution, authority figure led, logic intent. Striation-like, that's good. The person has the arms outstretched above his head. And sheep. I'm not too sure where sheep comes in.
It's part of the religious thing.
I wasn't going to bring that up. I thought that too. Draping arches, rounded arches. And pavilion type column structure, central feature.
Yeah.
Narrowing perimeter. Yeah, we had that. That would be up here in this one. Well, I guess I was thinking more that hallway, wherever it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. The angling down. There we go. That's what I was, in my head, that's where I went. Whether I'm correct or not, I don't know. Oh, time of target. Hours for visitors, but long-term overall, weekend-like for most access.
Visitors.
Ancient place. Desert-like. Overseers. Man-made part, in part, is new. Drinking. Polish people? Surely not. Of course, I did associate that with alcohol. That's an AOL on my part. I was thinking beer and Oktoberfest.
Did you say that Polish people don't drink?
Yeah, that's Oktoberfest. I mean, and that's German, I know. But anyway, that was...
We clearly haven't met the same Polish people.
I was being facetious.
Good.
Wow. I'm just scanning all these perceptions. Sense of it being eternal. That's some good ambiance. Passing on, inspiring others. Cautious leadership. Religiously motivated. Regimented and crafty.
I wonder if if either they were just animal symbols, like animals that gallop, or if there was ever, that place isn't so old, they had mules or anything like that, hauling anything around, right? It's too deep.
I don't know. It didn't say, I don't think, when like in the 1800s or anything in that feedback stuff.
I think I have a picture at the bottom. I hope I did.
Oh,
Thought I
my
did.
bad. There we go. Because actually, I'm missing your sketches. Because for the 8 Martinis article, I retasked you on a sketch, and you did great. Is there any particular
I thought I
thing
had a
here?
shepherd. The next one down is see the stairs and the arch and the column. I don't know. The columns are part of I think the other section, but the next one is when I refined it sort of to draw the area. And there, see the shepherd and the lamb, and the guy with his arms up, and the sort of a building and a tree, and you know that stadium, Michelle, I think, drew something like that. See where the people are with the stairs? Remember that part?
Yes.
And remember that circular thing? Well, I couldn't draw that very well. It's sort of that little piece I drew. So.
Wait, look at this right here. Didn't do very good here with my little tools on the software. Look at that. That stairway at the top.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing that?
Yeah.
Teresa, when you were reading that at the beginning, did it say that people have to walk the 650 feet downstairs?
I think so.
You have to get in there by the stairs.
Yeah, I don't think there are any elevators. I mean, I didn't remember reading anything about elevators.
They had to have somewhere to get the salt out. I just wondered. That'd be. Oh, they have that.
That.
Yeah, that thing. I wonder if
whatever you call that thing.
But I thought it said you had to walk stairs down to get down there.
Yeah.
That'd be rough.
Yeah. I was thinking I wouldn't be. There we go. After a 150-meter climb down wooden stairs, the visitor to the salt mine will see some amazing sights.
After 150 meters walking downstairs, I'd see stars.
I'm looking for that.
They have to throw me down.
Yeah, here are a couple of the shots of the balcony from up high. Right there.
Yep. It fits pretty good, except for the that little stadium-looking thing. Me and I think Michelle drew something like that. I don't know what the heck that is. Must relate to something, but I don't know what it was. I don't know.
A lot of stuff at this site.
The chandeliers, maybe? I don't know.
Might have been.
But that was it.
Nice work.
I thought I wrote stalactites in there somewhere, but I have to look at it in detail. I don't know.
Well, we can scroll back up through there.
Yeah. Good job. I just wonder if that's a solid floor and one of those miners or something actually cut in the shapes of the tiles on the floor. That would be amazing.
I think, well, I know, but I bet you they did. Look at all the statues and what they did. I can't even imagine. These were no ordinary miners.
No, somebody who was an artist shouldn't have been spending his life in the salt mines.
Yeah. That's really a bad pun, too. Bad conceptual pun, salt mines.
I'm looking, but I don't know.
Yeah.
We may be wasting our time.
know, it's a little bit longer for us this time, but I'm mostly looking for ST. If you put it in one of your long sentences or something, I didn't see it.
Yeah. I had it in a session last week. I thought, well, it might have been this one since it seems to have fit. I guess it wasn't.
Oh, jeez. And then we have one page to look at. This is all we have from Travis Blevins, and he is not here. He contacted me, I do believe, through Facebook, and he dreams. And so he was here, I think, last week and registered for tonight. He was wondering if he could start doing better interpretation of his dreams by learning some remote viewing stuff. And was really appreciative of us even being around and letting him come hang out with us. So he got salty. Imagine that. I don't think anybody else wrote down salty anyplace. Dry, powder, sandy, woody, blue, tan, brown, box shape, heat, windy, bright, white, like dunes or wavy, and warning. And so, again, he is trying to expand his ability. His subconscious speaks to him in dreams, and he's trying to cross things over and expand how he can interpret what he gets and maybe make it a little more useful. So I will make sure that I send him a note. Nobody else got salty nobody else went woohoo. So that's all I have, folks. And we started just a little late just to allow for everybody to be here, so we're pretty much at 2 hours, which I try to do. Anybody have any last anything?
Just thank you for doing this for everybody.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody, for contributing your sessions. And this time I saved them to my desktop, but if you can see, if I label them like this, they all land in the same place. And Russ, when you label yours, if you could put a space in between the word target and your coordinates and your name, then alphabetically, all I have to do is punch that into a search engine, and they're all going to pretty much come up in my inbox, which is a very nice thing. When I have about, this week, I've gotten all these, so this is 8 sessions, which multiplies when I download them usually, and then I've gotten in 8 or 10 other sessions from people. So this is a very handy thing, and I appreciate all of you trying to work with me with my seemingly obsessive-compulsive requests, and there's actually a method for my madness and why I ask you to do it. I appreciate it very much. So anyway, that's all I have. Lynn and I are talking behind the scenes a little bit about offering some short seminars, and if we can get those put together, at least I'm going to try and go ahead with mine, and a few of us are leaning on Lynn, see if we can get him to do something, and if so, we'll be posting that, and you can follow us doing that and follow the targets of the week that are posted on Aesthetic Impact for the sessions that are coming up, and I think that's about it. Thanks for coming, everybody, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Nice work. Lynn, I'll send this over to you so you can start working it in on CR Viewer.
Good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Mary Lou.
Ron, I see your mic's off. Anybody have anything else they need to say? Last call.
Yes, I wanted to thank everybody tonight, and I wanted to let you know I saw some really good sessions tonight.
I thought everybody did strong work for whatever level of training they were at. Yep.
Yes, very good night.
Yes, it was.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. You're welcome. Thank you.